when it all fall down, Lord. Said when it all fall down, my nigga, who you gon' call on now? Said when it all fall down, he said he tired of this broke shit. New business with money, baby, mommy that support shit. Even tried his eyes with the coke flip, but lost it all cause he didn't know shit about the fork whip. His partner hit him up like, boy, I got a lick. Bosco said that nigga keeping pounds and he stashing bricks. So fuck it, let's do is what he replied to shit. Grabbed his 45 and his mask, hopped in the ride and hip. It's just a for failure, but he's scared to admit the problem cause his pride. Plus he needs the grip. Finally got to the crib as they crept to the dope. Said a prayer, kicked boom and told him hit the float. Not knowing no boy was waiting there by the dope. Soon as his partner ran in, he come to his scope. Now his ass surrounded by folks he don't know. Bosco set him up from the goat. It all fall down. Lord. Said when it all fall down, my nigga, who you gon' call on now? Said when it all fall down, Lord. Said when it all fall down, my nigga, who you gon' call on now? Said when it all fall down. She said she tired of being at home. At times she wants to stay with him. At times she wants to be alone. If it wasn't for the kids, she probably been gonna stick with him. Cause he brainwashed her and thinking his love is strong. Make up to cover bruises, hoping people won't notice. Often said he had to let her go cause of a shortage. A work that she feeling like her word is corroded. Fed up with it all, she cried until her eyes were swollen. She's at home trying to explain what's happening, but he didn't want to hear it, he just wanted to smack a bitch. She figured it was time for get back and shit. Grabbed the knife, the nigga turned around, she hit his back with it. He fell to the ground, she heard a scream for the kid. She snatched the phone and called her law and tell her what she did. Not knowing the whole situation will be flipped. 25 and night, they sentenced her, it all fall down. Said when it all fall down, my nigga, who you gon' call on now? Said when it all fall down, said when it all fall down, my nigga, who you gon' call on now? Said when it all fall down.
Yo. YouTube, what up?
Hello there, YouTube.
Call this episode 2 of the Hood little podcast we got going on. You know what I'm saying? We got Hood to Hood, but then the Spooks the podcast is also something separate too that we're gonna be doing because we're gonna continue that. But this is just to continue on the little Hood to Hood podcast we got going. You know what I'm saying? You got your boy Fresh in the building. You know what I'm saying? Big Brody here in the building.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? New topic for today. Just something that I was randomly thinking about. You know what I mean? It's something that has been going on for the last couple years, and different people have different opinions on it, but we're going to express our opinion and how we feel about this topic today. So the topic is simply this. Things or traits that men can identify for women as being masculine. So different traits that you notice for the female gender, how females project masculine energy. Now, last time I let my boy, he opened up the session, but this time I'm going to drop my take real quick. Now, just me thinking in my mind, when I was reflecting on this topic, I want to say the first time I could say in my life that I recognized a girl having masculine energy, I was just a young boy, but this was actually one of my cousins, and you know her quite well, but it was one of my cousins And I noticed,
Yeah.
like, you know, she won't really girly like the rest of my cousins. She was my cousin that was more, you know, I opened up a tall can of whoop ass on you.
Mm-hmm. Sure was.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that was just my first time recognizing it, but that is another tall tale sign of a female having masculine energy. Whenever a female is ready to fight and willing to just fight, she's masculine. Would you agree with that, bro?
Yeah. I mean, it's a part of a survival trait when it comes down to having a rough life, or it might be more males in the house than it is females and stuff like that. So, they tend to pick up off of certain, characteristics of their environment. So, yeah, like it's an art of, I guess it's basically a survival instinct. You copy what you see in order to survive, basically.
Which makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, ladies, it's a big difference between self-defense and you just being a bully. And when you try to be a bully, you're operating in masculine energy.
Yeah, that's facts too. Because, that go back to, the whole survival thing. And, if it's more males in the house, males tend to, try each other, just to, that's how we bond basically. And sometimes that can spill over to the females in the house when it's not that many. And as a result, they end up basically being one of those type of females that, if they see another female and the female, approaches them, or I guess not even, really bother them, but I guess come in their bubble, you might as well say, they can react the way a man would kind of react in that process.
Okay, dude. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's us as men, we have to remember that some of these females do have brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And the masculine energy from their brothers do carry on into them.
Yep.
That was a good observation.
Yeah. It's, because, and the main reason why I also say this too is, staying with my dad and everything, he got a daughter, that's my sister, love her to death.
Yeah.
But, realistically, it was more dudes in the house than it was females. She see me and her other brother, and she see her dad. We all in there, talking, carrying on, playing, and with her being the only female, it kind of spilled over to her. And realistically, even though she's my sister, I'm not even gonna lie, I view her as kind of like a brother, basically. You know what I'm saying? But it's still times where the female side of her comes out. And when it comes out, as a big brother, she needs somebody to talk to, or she needs somebody to vent to about a problem, or she needs insight about something, I help her. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're supposed to do. And I think a lot of these females out here that do display masculine energy are just females that really haven't had anybody they could vent to and talk to and such, not so they can be vulnerable and be feminine and and everything else.
Okay. I like that. I guess so. Another trait would be if she consider herself as one of the guys, or she get along better with guys, you're operating in masculine energy.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that, because I feel like that's kind of like the same way with guys too, though, because if you ain't got like a certain friend group or whatever the case may be is, or if you do have a friend group, I feel like that most of the time, us as men, we would kind of like gravitate towards more women to like chill with and hang around with because, you know, that's what we prefer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like outside of the friend group, like us, for instance, we got a friend group and everything else like that. I mean, I don't mind making friends with other guys and stuff like that, but the majority of the time, I want to be around a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No
because it
doubt.
seems like, you know, their life is somewhat more interesting. It's not the average, you know, guy talk or whatever. You know, you can sit there, talk to a female, you know, and, you know, just it's something different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, can you say that's the same for women though? Because
Yeah,
just me
yeah.
myself personally, if I see a female with more guy friends than she got girlfriends, that's just a red flag to me. Because a girl that got a good amount of girlfriends, she has no choice but to you know have her certain amount of feminine showing. You know what I'm saying? She can't just be masculine around her fucking girlfriends all the time.
hmm Well, I mean, well, yeah, I can kind of say that because ultimately I'm not gonna cap. You know, sometimes when I hang around female friends or associates, it's either we already had a past with each other, or either I'm planning on to do something together or something. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's the main thing that's on my mind. It's more of like, you know, we conversate as friends, we talk, and then I guess like we develop some type of friendship to the point to where it ends up like, you know, being a little bit more than just a friendship. And then we come to the realization that, hey, look, we don't need to be doing this, but you know, we can still remain friends. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I believe the same thing also applies to females and happens to females. You know, they take their masculine energy or their masculine traits and they interact with males and stuff like that. And then, you know, it forms some type of bond. And then as a process of forming the bond, you know, sometimes that bond can, you know, transcend and go a little bit deeper, considering that, you know, even though this person might have masculine energy, you know, she's still a female. And like I said earlier, like when you're a female and you feel like you can be comfortable with somebody, you sometimes they let go of the masculine energy just to vent and get stuff off their chest and everything. And in some cases, you have females that literally just, you know, end up messing with a dude, you know, or dating the dude or whatever the case may be is because they temporarily let their guard down, which was their masculine energy blanket that they kept, you know, that they cover themselves with when they out in their everyday natural lives and stuff.
Okay. How you feel about this one then? If she owned more sneakers, particularly Jordans, than she do any other type of, you know, women type shoes, she's masculine.
I mean, me personally, I don't know. I think that might be a stretch because I mean, maybe you know, it's more shoe. I think it depends on the person really, because realistically, I mean, females have a more of a select. You know, they got more of a selection than we do because we just stuck to either wearing shoes or boots, basically. You know what I mean? I mean, you may occasionally have, you know, a guy wear cowboy boots, but you know, that's neither here or there. But, but to you know, to me, they have more a selection because they can wear their shoes and they can wear our shoes. And I guess it's more of like, you know, whatever hit, you know, whatever goes with the outfit, really.
Okay. Personally, ladies, I believe if you wearing more sneakers than you know your slides and your heels and stuff like that, you might be a sneakerhead, but most likely you be ready to fight.
Well, you know how they always say, if you got a pair of black forces, them your fighting shoes.
mean, uh, 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 another one, and I guess a lot of women don't realize this, or maybe they do, but ladies, when y'all be going through something emotionally, and be going through like your whole transformation from your depression stage, and you decide to cut your hair and look like a little boy with boobies, you're masculine.
I mean, I can somewhat agree with that, but I would also like to add that no matter what type of depression that you go through, I don't feel like you should just cut your hair. Like, no, I mean, I feel like that because realistically, you're only doing it because of yourself being in an emotional state. So it's like, if you really think about it, if you never was in that emotional state, you would have never thought about cutting your hair. And if you would have never thought about cutting your hair would possibly be way longer than what it is now, to the point to where you wouldn't have to buy like wigs or get your hair done, buying all that other extra crazy stuff, because you would have been able to just do it just by using your natural hair that you have. But, I feel like that when it comes to moments where you feel depressed or you're sad, or, you want to do the big chop or something like that, I feel like that you should really just do something else that's more, I guess that'll help you in the long run, because cutting your hair really wouldn't necessarily, make things better. I mean, all you did was pretty much change your appearance on the outside, but in the inside, you technically only get a temporary feel of change, but the real change has to come actually doing the work, finding out what the root problem is, or whatever the issue is, and everything else, and identifying it and working on it and trying to fix that so you can feel better. Because you can always put a Band-Aid on a crack, but that don't mean that crack gonna ever be healed, or that crack ain't never gonna be fixed or nothing like that. You just got a Band-Aid on it. You got to put some cement on it. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, put some cement on it, and fix it.
Yeah.
Band-Aids are temporary. Cement is forever.
True that. True that, my brother. All right. Let me see how you feel about this one right here. Now, this could be kind of like a double-edged sword, because it doesn't necessarily have to be true, but it's like, when you peep it, it just the first thing that pops in your head, man. It's just what you think automatically. And unfortunately, ladies, some of y'all have to deal with this, and it's the deep voice. Some of you women have like deep voices, and unfortunately, like when us men hear it, like, oh Lord, she's a dude. But what you think?
I mean, realistically, I'm not even gonna front. When I hear a woman with a deep voice, now if she don't show any characteristics or any things that I can spot and identify as a man, then the first thing that comes to my head is, okay, she matured early when she was younger. Because regardless of how anybody might feel or anybody might say, you can tell the difference in someone trying to portray, well, I ain't gonna say portray, but you can tell the difference in a natural woman voice and someone, either, I guess, putting a pitch in their voice, or they're doing like, I don't know, like, the voice that they be doing sometimes. Like, it's something that you can really identify, like off of hearing it. So, it kind of be a little surprising to me to hear people be like, oh, I didn't know she was this, or I didn't know she was that. And it's like, how can you not notice that? Like, no, like, I'm not bashing nobody that, might be trans, or anybody that, that's part of that community. But realistically, it's not hard to pay attention to a tone of someone's voice to identify if they really are a man or, you know, a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard to identify. And not only that, I mean, there's several signs that you can look and see. You know, you can tell by the Adam's apple. You know, a lot of people claim that you can't, but to me, I personally can. You can tell by the fingers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then, like, realistically, I mean, you know, and then, and again, I'm not bashing nobody, but realistically, they all pretty much look alike when you really think about it. Like, they either dark skin or they either dark skin, you know, yeah, light skin or dark skin, and they wear, you know, I guess I don't know. I don't know how to really describe it, but me personally, I feel like I can identify one. You know, I can point one out in the crowd. Basically, if you was to take like 5 people and put them in the line and ask which one is a man, or you know, which one is trans, whatever you want to call it, I would be able to be like, okay, this person right here is trans, and I believe that I would be, I guess, what, 85% right of the time.
That ain't bad at all.
Yeah, it ain't bad, you know.
You
I mean, it's better than being wrong all the time, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna be, you know, I feel like I would be, you know, 85% correct most of the time when I make my choices, and my choices would be based off of The Voice, the Adam's apple, or your hands. Because regardless, you know, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say the hands, because the hands is like it's a throw up thing basically. So it's like some people had like some, you know, female hands, you know, I think it's it's 2 of their fingers that's different sizes or whatever. It's different sizes. But with men, one of ours is like, you know, either bigger than the other. And females is like on the opposite side. So when you look at someone who might be trans and you look at their hands and their jumps match up to yours, it's like, okay, you're trans. But you know, it might not be a sure thing, because you do have people who have different growth genetics in them that may, you know, switch things around a little bit. But
Okay.
ultimately, I use one of those as my tools to identify somebody.
Okay.
Or I'll just turn around and just ask, you know. if all 3 of those things, you know, fail, I'll just ask, because you know, at the end of the day, I mean, people are people. You know, I don't mind having a conversation with you. I don't mind, you know, talking to you and everything else. Only thing I don't mind is that, you know, if you try me, I mean, you know, I don't rock like that. You know, I find it disrespectful, and I remove myself from the conversation.
Understood, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I gotta know it now. I see this every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? It's not huge, because some of these girls do take out the time to like wax or maybe even shave. But ladies, the facial hair, especially, you know, the rare ones of you that got like the almost full beard and thicker mustache than I got, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, oh, yeah. Masculine.
Well, you know, again, you know, when I see things like that, and she's a, you know, woman and everything else, like I said, you know, the first thing come to my mind is that, you know, okay, she has a lot of, you know, she grew faster than everybody else. She developed faster. Because I mean, realistically, it ain't nothing but like hormones, basically. And hormones can play a real huge major part, and the female development to where some questionable things can be said or seen. You know what I mean? Like they can have body odor like a basketball player that just got finished playing basketball. They could have the, a little bit of hair growing on the chin, a little mustache or whatever the case may be is. But I mean, ultimately, I mean, shit, it ain't nothing for them to fix that. I don't mind it, but if they like popped out of the door and they didn't know something was going on, then I'd be like, hey man, you need to go, shave your mustache, your hairs and came in, or you got a little bit of chin hair action going. Make a little joke about it. Be like, man, you got about more chin hair than I do. I mean, make a little joke or something.
Hey man, I seen a few handful on, man. I'll be like, whoa, shorty, sideburns. Woo.
Right. Because I ain't gonna front. I think one of the girls that I used to talk to had that though. But another thing too, she had bad foot odor.
Oh, like,
yeah, bad foot odor. When I mean bad foot odor, it was like horrible, like a grown man horrible.
So pretty much like athlete foot.
Yeah, and and like I said, you can tell people develop that they develop faster, or whatever the case may be, is because there be certain things that kind of like tick, to get to you and shit like that. So it was one night that we were sitting in the car chilling, and this is like our couple times talking or linking up or whatever, and we sitting in the car just conversating and shit like that, just minding our business and shit. And I'm not even gonna lie, like I kept smelling something, and I'm not even gonna lie, it blew me. So I'm sitting here like, what in the world is that smell? And I'm over here trying to sneak and smell underneath my arms and stuff like that to see if I'm musty or something. I mean, trying to see if I stink or something like that. See if I might got like on an old shirt or something. Or, I mean? And then
so
out of nowhere, but then out of nowhere, it didn't occur to me that she had her windows down and she had her feet hanging out the window. So in my head, I'm not putting two and two together. But then ultimately, I was like, bro, is that your feet? I was like, something stink. And she was like, yeah, it's my feet, da 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 da. And, she said that she was going through some stuff or whatever the case may be. And I told her straight up, like, you can do this right here. It's like a little home remedy. If you do this right here, it'll help it'll help your feet, it'll help the smell go away. And I told her also, if you like want to like make sure it don't come back or whatever, take some, I want to say some peppermint extract, and you put it in your shoes, and the peppermint extract will kill that bacteria that's in your shoes. That way, once your feet clear up, you won't never have to worry about, like putting on shoes and then they coming back and shit like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, I put her on the game, but ultimately, it's just like, I feel like in situations like that, I mean, once you, find out, I mean, don't make it a big deal and nothing. Just, tell them straight up like, hey man, this, that, and the third, it's a little, tart, I think you need the, what's going on, or I think you need to take care of that. But most niggas in situations like that will kind of like blow it out of proportion, and then kind of like, make the girl like, I guess, uncomfortable or feel disrespected in a way. And the one thing that I've learned over the years of talking to females is that females, you have to direct things a certain kind of way when you want them to understand something. Like, you gotta have a little bit of passion, but you have to be more real than anything, though. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
True. Okay. What was gonna be my next one? It was just my mind. Oh, you females, especially y'all ones on social media, always talking about you don't need a man for this and you don't need a man for that, and you got it, you good, independent, you can take care of everything. Masculine.
Okay, now this right here gonna go deep, and it's gonna make a lot of sense. And I just want people to pay attention. You know, a lot of these females, and I'm not even gonna front. It's a lot of these males too. Both of these people are speaking out of not being self-aware of their choices and the red flags that they seen and they chose to ignore. Right? Majority of the time when you see a woman out there saying, "Oh, I don't need no man this, I'm independent, blah, 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 blah," it's literally because either this woman grew up in an environment where a woman basically wasn't self-aware of her making the bad choice of dealing with a certain individual. And because of that, it turned into bitterness and, I want to say, blaming everything else but the choices and the red flags she chose to ignore. And the same thing can be said for men. Men will literally turn around and date a female and see constant red flags, but they choose to ignore it, thinking that, hey, I can change her, because for some reason we're programmed to try to fix a problem if it ever occurs. And because of that, a lot of the time when we go through things like this and we ignore those red flags, we don't think we don't think, rationally like we're programmed to do. We think, okay, I can change her, I can fix this problem and everything will be straight. So the majority of the time, we'll end up doing things, getting hurt, and then instead of us being self-aware that, hey, you know what, I should have been paying attention more, or I shouldn't have ignored those red flags when they presented themselves, they'll sit there and blame everything else, and they'll start categorizing women as I guess thoughts, or jump offs, or whatever the case may be, is when they're literally just acting out of hurt, basically, because they couldn't change the person that they thought they were in love with. You know what I mean? And only reason why they thought they were in love was because they were doing all the things a person is supposed to do when they're in love with somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Late night conversations, puppy love, basically. And, but the one thing that I've learned over the years with social media is that social media will literally target a certain demographic and pump a certain narrative into their community until they succeed. And the majority of the time, you see people that's advocating for independency, or women that's saying men are toxic, or people that have talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Those people play a part in, I'm gonna call it a conspiracy now, but these people play such a huge part in a conspiracy that's directed towards their kind that they don't even know it, because they've been programmed by watching this very same thing and taking interest in it and trying to speak on it. And that process is basically to stop, the union of, minority groups, like black, white, black, Asian, any kind of, group that might have melanin in their skin, or they might not be white, put it like that. Okay. And because of that, it pushes people to date outside of their race, which the majority of the time they end up dating white people. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why they date white people is because they feel like it's easier. They can be pleased more, or they can have sexual fantasies the way that that they want and stuff like that. But in actuality, I mean, you can have that same thing with your own race, and you can have that same thing with your own person. You just have to choose the correct person and everything else. But the reason why I call it a conspiracy now is because the simple fact that people like I think it was Elon Musk that said this, but it had some kind of like fucked up shit with it too. But I kind of got what he was saying. The difference between a conspiracy theory and truth is only one thing, and that one thing is 6 months. Because eventually the truth will come out and then it'll be exposed. But by then it'll be too late.
Bro.
Yeah.
That was deep. Yo. Real spill. Yo.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if you can go on Facebook right now and scroll down your timeline, and I promise you'll see a video of some woman talking about some men ain't this and men not that. And then you can scroll down maybe like 10 minutes later and you can literally see the same thing, but from a man's point of view. Black women ain't this, black women ain't that. And you literally have thousands and thousands of people in the comments going back and forth with each other about how this gender ain't this or this gender ain't that. And literally the entire time it does nothing but divide them and push them away from reproducing. Literally. And they don't see that. And it's sad because they literally did this same tactic, I want to say, in the 1950s or 60s, when they used, where one of their main priorities was to dismantle the black home. And in that process, they ended up getting the father out of the home of black homes.
Correct. And
basically providing single black females with, welfare or something like that, and child support and everything else. And one of those stipulations of that is keeping the father out of the home.
Right.
Which in itself, back then, people should have seen those red flags, but they didn't because of the conditions that they were in. Because then that's when they started going into these communities and destroying the jobs that were there and everything else. Then, as a retaliatory thing to put the nail in the coffin, they ended up putting, crack cocaine into the communities. And a lot of people sit there and say, oh, well, the black men were the ones that were selling it and everything else. I promise you, if you do your research,
how did the black man get it?
Yeah, how did the black man get it? And two, if you look and do your research, and and I'm not even gonna front. Sometimes doing your own research is gonna cost you like the most it'll probably cost you by doing your own research. When you want information, it'll literally cost you $20. It'll literally cost you $20 to get your own information, do your own research to the point to where you can be sure about a lie and other things and stuff like that. But doing your own research, you will find that though the people that you think were in the black men you think that were selling, the drugs in the neighborhood, wasn't even black men of that community. It were black men who were working for these organizations. I'm not gonna say what them organizations is. I'm pretty sure people can fill in the blanks and everything else. But these people are documented of being undercover civilians that were selling and pushing these drugs into these communities. And one of these people ended up being busted by I want to say it was either the LAPD. I want to say he was busted by them And in the process, after they interrogated him and everything else, they found out that he worked for a certain organized group, and they had to release him because they were basically messing up a government funded operation, basically. So a lot of people don't realize that, that our communities, like the ghetto, the projects, and everything else, all those things were put in place to destroy and separate the Black family, because at that time, the Black family was considered the best power next to the nuclear power family. And, it's just crazy because not only they succeeded for a very long time, but I'm gonna say about maybe 90s, early 2000s, early 2000s, the Black community, as far as becoming a family and all this other type stuff, we started coming back together again. But then maybe right around 2015, that's when you started seeing spikes of people saying, "Oh, passport bros this," or don't deal with females that date this girl, and all that stuff was pushed on to our communities. And now we have gender wars now because of it.
Yeah, it was about, like you said, about 2015. Yeah.
That's when the gender wars started. And I mean, realistically, ultimately, all it's going to do is just cause people not to, deal with each other. And it's been people that's been benefiting off of it. Like, you have some people that have been, I guess you can say, pandering to women by, being, they're being a part of the problem. They'll pander to women, telling women what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. And a lot of women fall for it because they're part of this, this gender war, and they don't even know it. They don't realize that they've basically been drafted to a war that they didn't really ask to be a part of. They just got brainwashed into it. And, it's kind of sad, and it's kind of, it's crazy, because realistically, at the rate that it's going, as far as the Black population, we might basically, our numbers might dwindle within probably the next 10 years because of this so-called gender war and pandering and bashing people about being pick-me's because they've seen through the programming and want to warn people about it and stuff like that the only way that they possibly can. And it's just sad, really. And all of this stems from people not being self-aware of their choices and choosing the correct person to deal with. And it's crazy. It all stems from a person not being self-aware of their decisions about who they decided to deal with or what red flags they decided to ignore. Because truth be told, a person will show you exactly who they are once they get comfortable enough around you. And in some cases, a phone conversation could tell you that within 3 days. A 2-hour phone conversation with a man or a woman, you can literally feel and find out what a person truly is right then and there. And then by then, it's up to you if you decide you want to deal with them or date them or have a romantic relationship. But my thing is, if it goes south and it goes wrong, don't blame everything else in the world. And I'm not even going to say blame yourself, because you did what you wanted to do. Just be self-aware that you did it and you chose to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Just be able to live with what you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to, regret decisions or regret certain things, but be self-aware of what you chose to deal with, so that way you can learn and grow from the experience instead of harboring negative feelings and hating a certain, hating a certain, I guess, concept of the thing that hurt you. Like, Tyrone was a player and he really wasn't looking for love and he was finessing you. And you didn't see this in day one, but you still chose to do it because you thought you could change him. Like, remember that. Be self-aware of it, learn from it, and grow. Don't harbor those feelings and then be like, well, it couldn't have been me. It's not my fault that he did those things to me. It's because he's a man. Nah, don't do that because you ain't doing nothing but basically telling the universe you ain't learned your lesson. So you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna end up getting that lesson again. Right. And you're gonna get the lesson again and again and again until you learn from it. Then right. You'll get better. You know what I mean? Like,
don't sabotage yourself.
Yeah, don't sabotage yourself by, not learning a lesson. That's why we have lessons in the first place, to learn from and grow as people. The moment that you sit here and you try to blame everything else but your choices because you seen what you saw and you chose to deal with it. Because, come on now. The universe will answer any question that you ask. You just have to pay very close attention to what to the answer. Because it'll be right there. I asked the universe, was it meant for me to deal with this person, even though they was doing me wrong, they was treating me wrong, they used me, and they hustled me out of out of 2 apartments. I helped them get an apartment twice. After the second time, it was just like, bro, I asked the universe, like, man, am I meant to be with this person? And I lie to you not. I went to my mailbox to check the mail, and I picked up one of them little postcard junks that be having advertisements, and it said, leave now and start over and have a good time. And then I flipped it over and it said, come to the Hampton Inn. And I was like, bro, now what's the odds of me seeing that first? It's a 50-50 chance of me seeing that, but the fact that I asked that and it had that on the postcard, it's like, okay, I'm going to leave.
Your message from the universe, right?
That was my message from the universe. And once I got that message from the universe, I started sitting and I started thinking. I was like, I've seen all these signs beforehand. And all I did was sit here and complain. When I had a choice to stay or I had a choice to go. And each time I ignored those signs because I thought I could change this person. But at the end of the day, you can't change nobody that's not willing to change.
True indeed.
They have to change on their own. Only thing you could do is let it be known that what they're doing is wrong to you and there will be consequences. But it's up to you to act on those consequences as well.
And it's also important that you let it be known that I'm telling you this out of love. It's not that I'm telling you this because I despise you or have some type of hate towards you. I'm telling this because I know you're capable of being a better person.
Yeah. Realistically. That's every decision. That's pretty much everybody who's ever been in a bad, crazy decision and they just, dilly-dallied and didn't want to leave. It's literally because we see the potential in them that they don't see, and we feel like we can fix them or they'll change eventually. When, like I said, you can't change nobody. They have to change on their own.
Right.
Now,
they have to be willing to do it. Right.
Yeah. You have people that might come in their life that might change that, because they got introduced to them, then they'll change and shit, and change and stuff like that. But ultimately, you don't have the power to change anybody. They have to change on their own. And I feel like a lot of people just need to, don't be scared to leave nobody if they treating you wrong and it's been known and, and it's constantly going and everything else. You have the right to be happy and be treated right, just like they have the right to be treated, right and happy and stuff like that. You just need to go ahead and just, leave. Because the longer you stay, the longer they're going to get away with whatever they're doing. And the longer that they get away with what they're doing, the more they're going to push the bar to the point to where you could be in your house and they could be humping somebody in the room while you in the kitchen doing the dishes crying. And that can go for a man or a woman. So, like, I mean, so
Not
it's just
doing
like,
this is crime.
yeah, doing the dishes crying. Because, I mean, realistically, I mean, ultimately, everybody out here, we just looking for love. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to love yourself first.
Right.
You have to become self-aware and love yourself first. And for
Right.
the ladies, in order for you to love yourself, you got to know yourself first. And before you get to know yourself, you got to take off your trauma blanket. I understand that you might have been hurt before in your past. And I understand that you have your masculine energy to protect yourself and survive in this world. But once you take that stuff away from it, once you take that masculine energy away from you and you take that trauma blanket off of you, you have to come to the realization that for whatever long that you had that blanket on, you have not known who you were.
Right. Because
You
you've been
haven't.
living someone else's persona trying to protect
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
You've been living in someone else's persona trying to protect yourself because whatever person hurt you or whatever male inspiration you had in your life, you use that as your blanket to shield you from the world. Us as men, we know why we're masculine. We know why we masculine because it's to survive because this world is very cold and messed up.
Right.
So when I see a masculine woman, I know she's doing the same thing. She's just trying to survive in this world by using some type of male presence, good or bad, as her cover up blanket, as her shield, basically. So she can, but outside of having that shield, she really doesn't know who she is because she's never had a chance to really let that shield down and get to know that person deep down inside. Realistically, whenever you got hurt or whenever you got traumatized, the moment that you put on that blanket, you froze yourself in time in whatever age that you was once you put that blanket on. You froze yourself in time. You could be 30-something years old and you could still be that 8-year-old girl who got her heart broke at that school dance.
Yep.
Realistically. You have to take that blanket off and get to know yourself so you can love yourself. And whatever that need and whatever that has to, whatever comes of that, whatever you discover of yourself, it could be weird to you at first, but love it. You could, I don't know, you could like to collect Barbie dolls or something like that, or Bratz dolls, or or some crazy stuff. You like swinging on swing sets or some, it could be anything, underneath the rainbow. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it and love it. And the same thing go for the men too. I understand y'all, y'all go through things, y'all don't like talking about stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to let it down. You have to let down your human shield as well, so you can get to know yourself and love yourself. Because the longer you do, the longer you're gonna harbor hate, and you basically gonna end up losing yourself and not really knowing who yourself is.
Right.
And I
And
say
in the
that
long run, you will even lose people that could have played a pivotal role into what you really had going on.
mm-hmm. The one thing that I want to tell people, pain recognizes pain. I can't stretch that enough. No matter how good you think you can hide it, no matter how good you think you can put your mask on, you can't hide your pain from someone that's been through the same thing or been through more pain than you. And ultimately, someone that has been through more pain than the average person, I just want to tell you this. At the end of the day, I just want to help you the same way I wish someone would have came and helped me. because ultimately it's gonna eat you up inside to the point to where you ain't gonna know who you are. You gonna hate everything. You ain't gonna love nothing. You just gonna hate the world eventually at some point, and you ain't gonna even know why. It's because you harboring something that you haven't let go, or someone hasn't came to you and told you, you know, everything gonna be all right type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
type shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like is people have to realize when someone's like a person like me, if I'm speaking to you, it's because, bro, I know exactly what you've been through. I know you done sat in your room or sat up looking at the sky or whatever the case may be, as a thought to yourself, am I worthy? Like, do I deserve this? Should I have that? Like, I know the questions you ask yourself, because I'd ask myself the same question more than once. Same thing with the females. Like, at the end of the day, y'all can sit here and say, oh, I don't need no man this, I don't need no man that. Sweetheart, you was just speaking out of hurt. You really are. You just speaking out of hurt. You speaking out of hurt because you had the capacity, you gave your all to somebody, or attempted to give your all to somebody, and you fell madly in love with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been your, you know, you just fell in love with somebody. It could have been your
down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It could have been your dad, it could have been your boyfriend, it could have been whatever. And that person disappointed you and showed you that they wasn't giving you the same energy. And I understand that hurts. It hurts a lot. I understand. And because of that, you ended up putting on that, you know, that trauma blanket. That good old shield. You ended up putting that on. And for whatever amount of years you've been walking around with it on, you just basically been, you know, that person at whatever age you got hurt at, just surrounded by layers of ice. You need to let it thaw. You need to come out and see the world now. You know, the sooner you can do that, the sooner you can learn from all your past mistakes. And the moment that you learn from all your past mistakes is the moment that you truly blossom and become the better version of yourself.
Agreed.
Yep.
But you also, male or female, you must be able to master the art of being able to be by yourself, but at the same time enjoy yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you can't even be by yourself for too long. You have to go and surround yourself with other people because you don't like the person that you are.
Yeah.
But get comfortable with yourself. Spend time with yourself. That's a part of knowing yourself. Sometimes you do have to look in the mirror and you have to tell yourself that you've been messing up. You've been slipping up. You need to get your stuff together. I understand it's not always easy for everybody. Sometimes you don't want to go in that room. You don't want to look in that mirror and have to confront yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's all it really is. Oh, and another thing too, in order for you to also fix yourself and become, you know, come whole, you have to make peace and embrace your demons. And what I mean by that is because little do you know, whatever those demons that you had, or whatever that now for some reason you push in the back of your head, or you abandon, or you try not to let out, and everything else, you got to remember this. At the end of the day, those demons that you had were the only people that you did have at once upon a time. And those same demons was the same ones that protected you when no one else could. And that's some real nigga shit. And the reason why, and this is how I got this inspiration for this saying: make peace with your demons and become one with them, which is basically you accepting all parts of yourself so you can be whole. Mm-hmm. And I got this inspiration from, it was, you know, I'm a little nerd too, so, you know, I'm just letting everybody know I'm a nerd, so I might use a couple comic book or anime references a couple, you know, times here and there during my podcast career. But but it was a comic book called The Immortal Hulk. And it was discovered that Bruce Banner, which is, you know, the white man that turned into the Hulk, his first iteration of the Hulk was called the Devil Hulk. And I'm just letting y'all know now, the Hulk has multiple. He has, all right, Bruce Banner was a child of abuse. And in order for him to get through his trauma and his father beating him the way he did, his brain, just like many other people, developed split personalities in order to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Devil Hulk was one of those personalities. So when he ended up getting hit with the gamma bomb that turned him into the Hulk, all it really did was basically give his split personality life, a physical form.
Yep.
And one of these comic book panels, Bruce Banner sat there and he was curled up in the ball because I guess he was in his mindscape where he could converse with his other personalities and they can converse with him. And he was curled up in a fetal position because his abusive father, who died, came back to life and was wreaking havoc in the Marvel comics. And I don't know, but while Bruce was in his mindscape, curled up in the ball and crying, the Devil Hulk came up to him. Well, basically the Hulk too. Well, yeah, the Hulk. So I'm just gonna call it Hulk from now on. But Hulk came up to him and told him, "Hey, look, man, I just want to tell you, I don't think you're stupid, and I don't know why you hate me." He was like, "Because when you were alone, you didn't have anybody. Even through the abuse, you had nobody but me. And I did everything I possibly could to protect you from losing your mind or dying and everything else. And I just want you to love me the way that I love you." And I'm not even gonna front. As I'm reading that panel and shit like that, I ain't gonna front. I kind of like, you know, let out a little tear because Bruce Banner turned and looked at him and thought about everything that he's ever possibly been through, where he ended up turning into the Hulk to the point to where it started to make so much sense to him, because it was times where Bruce Banner would be sitting and eating food or something like that, and he would instantly turn into the Hulk, and he would wake up later and not knowing why he turned into the Hulk. Whole time somebody shot him in the back of the head, and before he could die or pass away, the Hulk transformed so he could heal, so he wouldn't die. And every iteration from the past to now, the Hulk has always transformed to protect Bruce Banner from dying or getting hurt because he loved him that much. And Bruce Banner, for a long time, seeing the Hulk as a burden and not knowing why he would, you know, he always would confuse it with anger. But whole time, it was just him trying to protect him so he wouldn't get hurt like he did when he was a kid. So, people, I'm here to tell you, make peace with your demons. Make love, not make love, damn. You know where my mind is. But yeah, people, make peace with your demons so you could become one. Stop throwing them to the side. Stop trying to bury them and hide them from people and letting them come out, you know, during, I guess, you know, your alone time. Truly embrace yourself and give yourself that well-needed love that you've been desperately needing your entire life. Give yourself that closure to let yourself know, hey, look, I know it's parts of me that I hate or I dislike, but I'm going to love them because it's me and everything else. And I promise you, by doing that, you will become a whole new different individual because you are no longer a divided mind. You will become a full, sound mind and body, realistically.
Bro, that was deep, dog. Steve over here spitting game, man. Philosophy is real.
Yeah, it's philosophy. Like I said, like pain recognize pain, and you can't grow without pain. And I think that's one of the main things that's important about life is going through something, going through trials and tribulations, and coming out the victor and not giving up. Because the moment you give up is the moment that you lose. But I'm not saying you can't stop and take a breather, but if you completely stop and give up, then that's when you lose. And you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. Because I promise you, the race ain't hard at all once you become self-aware of your actions and what they can lead to. Life becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier that you'll enjoy every moment. You'll wake up in the morning time with a smile on your face and be like, you know what? I'm happy I'm alive today. Let me go do whatever it is that I enjoy. Not even your coworkers or your messed up job will make you angry anymore. you will literally find enjoyment. I'm telling you, and honestly, shit, with you having such a positive attitude and everything else, who's to say you won't get what you really deserve? You might get that one job you always want because your mind is now at peace. And now you can basically mold your reality into what you want.
Right. Because now
everything
look through it at a different perspective, a different lens.
Yeah. The moment that you start looking at life through a different lens, the more you'll start to see changes in your life. Like you'll just, you might be a millionaire if you start looking at life through a different lens and stuff like that. Once you start loving yourself and, being self-aware of your decisions.
Right.
Like everything will just become better.
Shoulders. Yeah. All that extra weight, that baggage.
Yeah. Ain't no point in you walking around, the rest of your whole life with the burdens on your shoulder. Take them burdens off and do the fusion dance. Fuse. Be one. That's all you gotta do. Throw a Patara earring at them and fuse so you can be one. I'm just saying, like, don't basically don't limit yourself. Just become one. Become one and love yourself and grow as an individual and stuff like that. Because the moment that you got love in your heart is the moment that you can spread that love to everybody else. And honestly, the more people that got love in their hearts, the better life will be for everybody. For real.
Yeah. Like you truly love yourself, yeah. Which is rare. Because it'd be people that say they love themselves, but may contradict that. Actually, truly love yourself, bro, to the point where you spoil yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You spend time with yourself. You talk to yourself from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Take the time to realize everything that you love and everything that you hate and everything that you like and everything that you don't.
Exactly. The moment you do that, life will truly be better. You won't have to worry about running into people that's gonna break your heart. You ain't gotta worry about none of that because now you self-aware of everything. You can recognize game before it happened. Right then and there. Someone tell you, oh, you need to pay all my bills in order to talk to me. You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna sit there, you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna dismiss yourself from that conversation. Because you know why? You're gonna become self-aware and you're gonna realize that, wait, I'm in the talking phase with this person. Why would I do something? Why would I do things that's relationship responsibilities in the talking phase?
Right.
Like, no, like, I mean, and then you gonna start, and ladies, it's the same thing for y'all. Y'all gonna start recognizing game and dismiss yourself from dealing with people that might hurt you. They'll sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, you my girl, you this, you that, da 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 da." Whole time, this man hasn't even committed to you. He's still talking to Tasha down the street. He got you in the he got you in the dating phase, trying to give you relationship responsibilities. That ain't how that works. You could dismiss yourself just like that. You ain't never got to worry about somebody trying to play you or manipulate you ever again. Once you become self-aware and you start loving yourself, and that's real rap. That's the realest thing I could tell you. That once you become self-aware and you start loving yourself and you accept yourself for who you are, and embrace your past, and so you can have a better present, no one will ever play you ever again. Because you'll see the red flags before that person even opens up their mouth. The moment that this person says some questionable things, you'll be able to you'll be able to recognize everything that he's saying as game, and you will dismiss yourself because you know that's not what you want.
Yeah, and you make a very valid point, because I have heard this before and I've wondered this myself. Hearing this from many different females, it's like I guess the dude that broke their heart or disappointed them or whatever, you know, they couldn't recognize that it was game. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
I didn't know he was like that, or he was a different person that then he turned, and he razzled and dazzled me, and it just wasn't the same. How wouldn't you know? It's like I'd be wondering this because it's signs. If you really paid attention, I'm pretty sure. Like, for one, a lot of these guys, like, if they ain't hitting on nothing, they like the dude mom would tell you straight up, like, this nigga ain't shit.
Which is another sign. The universe answer your questions
based off how his friends treat him, if he has friends, based off his status with his friends, that should tell you a lot. Does he have respect for the guys he claims as his friends? If he has kids, does he really take time with his kids? Like, you with him more than he with his kids, that should tell you something.
Exactly. I mean, because realistically, like I said, everybody displays the signs that they need to display once they get around you. That's the same thing that go for dudes in the hood. Now, at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. If goddamn Big G over here, he been hanging around you your whole life, but Big G has always dissed you in your face, always tried to backdoor you for your girls and stuff like that and everything else. Or you had constant people that would look at him and tell you straight up, hey, bro, I don't think that dude really rock with you like that, like you think he do. You need to listen to those people, because that's the universe telling you straight up that person is not your friend. Like, right. and realistically, I feel like if you don't recognize nothing like that from the jump as a dude in the hood or a dude period, then I'm 100% sure you aren't self-aware of your choices when you deal with females, and you do end up getting played a lot. Because if you can't recognize a friend from a foe, how are you going to recognize what's a good woman or a woman that's running game on you, trying to get one up on you?
Right.
That's how I see it. In order for you to do, like, you gotta be able to choose your friends correctly, the same way that you gotta learn how to choose women correctly too. I mean, at the end of the day,
go for y'all too, ladies, vice versa too.
Yeah, vice versa. Because honestly, at the end of the day, we tell women all the time that, hey, you gotta have accountability for your actions and who you choose to deal with, and shit like that. But the same thing go for us too. We gotta have accountability for the people that we choose to deal with as well. Like, I shouldn't see you over here rapping about how Daquan goddamn backdoored you and robbed you, and you thought he was he was your real friend, when for about 6 years this man has shown you every sign in the book that he did not mess with you like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. And that's what I don't really understand about, I ain't talking down on rap dudes or nothing like that, but realistically, the majority of the time when they be talking about friends turn to enemies or people backdooring them that they was cool with since 5th grade and stuff like that, it's like at the end of the day, bro, like if you really look back at everything y'all went through, can you really say that he was really a friend? Nah, he was really out here trying to cutthroat you. Like once you become self-aware, when you really look at it, bro was really cutthroating you, talking behind your back, telling the girls you were lame, and talking down to you about the clothes you wear. Never sitting here telling you, yeah, bro, you look fly today, bro. Like, on some homie types of bro was like, this nigga think he fly, he literally laughing at you and everything else. Like, you got some dudes that might do that, but they playing with you. But you can tell the difference between somebody that's playing with you and somebody that's really like saying that, yeah, you nigga think he fly. He think he got it like that. Man, he ain't got it like that. Like, I mean, you could tell the difference.
Oh, yeah. You better be able to tell the difference.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's important to, like, you gotta become self-aware of your choices and decisions and the actions that come from it. You gotta accept once you accept that, you gotta accept accountability and the things that you chose to ignore. And the moment and everything else follows.
Yeah. Accountability is a big one.
Yeah. A lot of people hate accountability because they have to admit that they was wrong in some way, shape, or form. But look, being wrong about certain things is okay. It's part of the natural human experience and growth experience.
All right, because that's how we learn.
Exactly. That's how we learn. You ain't never seen nobody start running before they can crawl.
Right.
You gotta crawl before you walk. And then you gotta walk before you run. You ain't never seen nobody come out the womb running. The moment that you see that, just know eventually that person gonna start walking on water. That's real. That's the real stuff right there. Jesus might have came back on that one.
Running as soon as you came out, yeah.
Yeah, that's Jesus right there. We got to protect them at all costs.
Baby, that's special ability.
Mm-hmm.
But now, real talk though.
Yep, that's real talk. Start doing that, you good to go. And everything else. Stop feeding into these gender wars because they literally designed to separate y'all and have y'all and push y'all into dealing with outside your races. So, and everything else and stuff, because they see that the numbers is declining in a certain race. I'm not going to say which, but I think we all know they come from the Caucasus Mountains. So, it ain't no hate to them neither. It ain't no hate. No. I'm just saying it's a lot of, put it like this, it's a select few that's pulling the strings right now that I really don't care for because they really pushing the narrative dramatically. And for the life of me, I don't know why. Because I feel like by doing that, you're doing nothing but holding back society from being more advanced than what it is now. And it's like, like what's the issue with, having unity and coming together completely? Like, why the separation? I mean, because we really don't get nothing really done. And realistically, the less people you have is the less money you have. So it's like, what's the point? Like, I mean, like you might as well stop and advance the human race so that way we'll have more advanced technology to the point that we might be able to expand to other worlds and everything else. You know what I mean? And I don't know about you, but I think if you got a whole planet of human beings and you got all the money in the world over here, I'm pretty sure you would want more and want to build, build on another planet and have 2 planets with people so you can have twice as much money. I mean, that's a big, good business thing to me. It makes sense to me. Like,
I feel like what they're gonna start doing is kind of like what was the Avengers movie with what was the name of the villain? Was it Ultron?
Yeah.
Which Avengers was that?
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, right? So
yeah.
Remember when they had the massive land start levitating and floating into the sky?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that before we actually go to a different planet, they'll start making land masses to actually levitate in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. It's just the whole point. It's like, my thing is, it's like, if you cause division, you and everything else, you pretty much cutting costs. Know what I mean? Like,
you
pretty much,
I'll keep that right quick. Hold on 1 second, brother.
All right. But, to the people out there, it's just, to me, it's just weird. Because it's like, you would think that if it was a group of people that was pulling the strings to society and stuff like that, you would think that their main goal would be to advance society so society as the human race can expand. And whatever goals they might have, make fame, fortune, whatever the case may be is, you would think that, with more people, you'll be able to expand more and have more of whatever it is that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, trying to have wars and all this other, trying to profit from war. I mean, you better off taking that same money and advancing society and everything else so that way you can expand it like a business. Like, having wars and stuff like that and everything else, like, that just seems tedious and primitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would want to, like, expand society so you can have more resources and more things that you can get, or whatever the case may be is, like, it's just crazy to me. Like, why do all that? Like, you got us about to go into WW3, and it's like, well, what's really the point? I mean, because, like, if the people is gone, who's going to be the consumer? Who's going to be the person that you get money with, or whatever the case may be? Like, it's just all unnecessary. It's primitive, and I feel like it's a better way of going about it, realistically. I mean, because I'm not going front. If I was a person that was pulling the strings to society and the world and everything else like that, I would, in order for me to gain power or whatever the case may be is, I would have to expand society and not have it closed off. Know what I'm saying? Like, that just makes more sense. Like, doing it that way just seems like it's just human error, basically. Like, that's not bad. That's not good for business. It's not good for anybody. If anything, I'm messing myself up in the long run. And that's how I see it. That's just me. That's just in case of, like, one day, somebody that's pulling the strings or the leader of the society or whatever see this. I'm just saying, hey man, you could do things better. Like, for real. Like, you really could have way more than what you got now if you was to advance society and not keep it in a certain, flow, basically. Because right now, you got a bunch of dummies or whatever. I mean, I would think that, if someone wanted to have a unified planet and everything else with, I guess, like, people that would rock with you and everything else, like, together and not rebel or whatever the case may be is, then you would pretty much do it with, with an advanced society. You got people that's healthy. You got people that you pretty much you know, you're good. You know, it's like, hey, we rock with you, yeah, and everything else. Like, why do all this nonsense? Like, why hide in the shadows? I mean, we pretty much already know who you are. Well, we don't know who you are exactly, but we know you exist. And it's like, well, why not just let yourself be known? And
Well,
just
I think they're searching for it. My theory with like advanced civilizations, I believe we were once very advanced as far as our
yeah.
technology, but the whole myth and theories of the lost city of Atlantis, I believe like that civilization did indeed get sunk to like the bottom of the ocean somewhere. And I believe that's what the Navy keeps looking for.
Oh, that's on the from what my understanding is. I want to say it's outside. I know it's like somewhere in the oceans of Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, because it's like a certain landmass or cut in the rocks that was made by the ocean or something like that, and it looks like the ocean just came in and just carved out the rock and then swept everything from that was up there on top and brought it into the ocean and stuff. But but realistically, like I said, I mean, if I was running society or if I was some secret ruler of the world and stuff like that, I mean, I understand that you might have some, I guess, concerns because you've been around for probably millions of years or whatever the case may be is, and you've seen society get advanced and then destroy itself. But I mean, all you got to do is just learn from your mistakes and go about, it the correct way. Because I mean, realistically, by you living in fear of what you think might happen again, you're going to do nothing but constantly repeat the same cycle over and over again, basically until it happens again. Only thing you're doing now is just doing it at a slower pace, but ultimately you're still going to fail. And it's like, why do that when you can just literally advance society to a point to where we're unified and everything else, and we can just function as a unit, like that. I mean,
True.
I mean that's how I would see it, because I'm 100% sure it's somebody out there. I know people might think I'm crazy for saying this, but look, one thing the Bible, even though the Bible has been modified and everything else, and stories have been taken out and information has been taken out, you cannot sit here and tell me that there isn't somebody that survived everything and still is alive today, and he's running the show. You can't convince me of that. And one of my main prime suspects that I believe that's still alive to this very day is what's his name? Abel's brother, Cain.
Yeah.
I believe he's the one pulling the strings. And the reason why I say that is this. God told everybody that if you hurt this man or kill this man, you will see a fate worse than death. So what you think that means? And God, he just don't talk. He don't never talk in just one plane of existence. He talks in all planes of existence. So that means the astral world, the spiritual world, the physical world, the mental world, all that. No one was to ever do harm to that man. So that would mean that same message was relayed to death too. So death would not claim him or try to take him to the afterlife. So, realistically, Cain could be the person that's really running the entire show right now. And I just want to say, if it is Cain, hey man, I understand what happened and everything else. Hey, it is what it is. But realistically, don't live in fear no more, bro. Don't live in fear to advance society to have something greater. I mean, and the crazy thing is, hey, look, God forgives. Well, he supposedly forgives. I'm pretty sure you'll know more better than I do. So, so I'm just saying, advance society, man. Just advance it because you gain more. Learn from the past mistakes that happen or whatever and improve on them and stuff like that so society can be better. Because the greater society is, the better it can expand. And the better it can expand, the better that you can, I guess, I don't know, enjoy more, I guess. I don't know.
They don't want us to be perfect, man. With advancing society and civilization means, less diseases and less death, and how they gonna make money? How's there gonna be a division in class and in race if we advance as a civilization?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, realistically, even though you probably been here for millions of years, that's still realistically, no one said you couldn't enjoy life. No one said you couldn't, and you don't have to basically enjoy it alone either. Like, like you can literally just live life and have fun or whatever. You here for a very long time. You can have fun and have friends too. I'm just saying.
Dang. That's deep though, because my theory with the whole Cain and Abel thing was Abel was actually Adam's seed, which was God's seed, and Cain was actually the serpent seed, which was Satan's seed. And even though that they were in the same womb and they came from the same egg, they were different individuals.
Yeah, but then how they said that one thing was like, even though people sit here and they say the devil was the person that tempted Eve, it really never said the devil though. It said she was persuaded, by a serpent's tongue. So realistically, it could have been, anybody with a slick tongue for real.
True.
And whoever, that person is probably, I guess they would be his dad, I guess. But and I guess it kind of like, made God mad or whatever. But realistically, I feel like, well, shit, bro. Even if that's the case, you still have the one thing that everybody else has too, and you are entitled to enjoy it, and that's life, and that's the soul. You still get to enjoy existence. Like just enjoy it. Because pretty much the way it's going now, you got, I don't know, you got some old dude that can't even form sentences. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Biden, he too busy riding bikes.
Right. Eating at chicken places, trying to get votes and stuff from black people. And it's like, bro, like, just retire, bro. Like, like for real, just retire. Just give it up, retire, and everything else. Like, because it's obvious is that you were just put there just as a placeholder or whatever the case may be, is because of the fact that Hillary couldn't, because Hillary couldn't win,
right,
or whatever the case may be is, and Mr. Trump, he just, he was basically a curveball, basically. But in actuality, he wasn't a bad curveball. Because like I tell people all the time, if you take, the virus out of the whole situation, this man went to go meet with all the nation's leaders, and he realistically achieved world peace for the short amount of time that he was there, regardless of how y'all people may feel like.
We had no enemies when he.
We had no enemies. We wasn't at war or nothing like that. So it's like, everybody was cool. Kim Jong-un, he was cool with us.
Every country was willing to give us money.
Every country was cool with us. But then it just is crazy because out of nowhere, here come Fox News brainwashing people into hating Trump, and they don't even know why they hate Trump. The first thing come out of their mouth is, "Oh, I hate him because he's racist." How? You just repeating what Fox News said. They'll like, I'll lie to you that they will literally repeat every. If you ask a person why they hate Trump, I promise you could turn on a Fox News broadcast that aired, and they repeating the same thing that they said. I promise you.
You want to know what's funny? When they said
What?
Trump was racist, I remember because I'm a wrestling fan that maybe 2006, 2007 point in time, my dude Bobby Lashley, it had Lashley versus Umaga at WrestleMania. Excuse me. Bobby Lashley was representing Donald Trump. Umaga was representing Vince McMahon. It was supposed to be the match of the millionaires. Donald Trump was letting Bobby Lashley represent him in WrestleMania. A black man. Come on, man.
Yep. Like, it's crazy, bro. It's like, you know, I understand that Trump might have not had win, but y'all ain't got to do everything in y'all power to get him out of there. Like, unless y'all know some shit that we don't know, like, you know, like, know what I mean? Like, maybe one of y'all is a time traveler or something like that. Having him president leads to the destruction of the world or something like that. But I'm pretty sure you can prevent that if you change a couple things here and there or whatever the case may be. I don't know. You know, at this point, I'm just speaking as a conspiracy theorist. But, you know, like I said earlier, the difference between a conspiracy theorist and the truth is 6 months.
You know, they use their feelings to make people not like Trump. But at the same time, Biden is like what I like to call a transitional president.
Realistically, if you really want to call somebody racist, you'll sit there and say Trump is racist, but how can't you call Biden racist when Biden was literally in Congress talking about some N-word this and N-word that and Mexican this and Mexican that and you know, like, I mean, like, it's kind of crazy how y'all can call one person racist, but I can't name one racist thing that this man did or has done. But y'all don't say the same thing about Biden though. Like, y'all don't. I rarely hear people say anything about Biden being racist, and Biden has said some racist things before. And what behooves me is how he was on the campaign jump with Obama. But then again, Obama was a trap anyway.
Yeah,
he was an entire trap.
yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I guess you might as well say it was better than the alternative. But I don't know. We'll never know.
Well, bro, I guess on that note, just go ahead and end this episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
We did get deep in depth. Audience, when y'all run this back, I understand we started off with masculine traits of a woman, but then we just got to talking, man. So just bear with it. Listen to it. It's some good shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, sometimes we stay on topic, and then after we done with that topic, we jump to another topic that we were supposed to do next week. But ultimately, we just here to entertain y'all.
For real,
put y'all on the game.
For real, for real. Because Brody was dropping some jewels, some real gems for y'all. I hope y'all
some real gems. Exactly. But until next week, my friends, we're going to see you again.
Right. Y'all stay blessed. All that good stuff. If you hit the lottery, remember your boy. You know what I'm saying?
Remember, change comes when you take accountability and you become self-aware of your actions. Until next time, take care.